so I will happily go round the islands of the Inner Hebrides, alone in my 4.2 metre inflatable boat. I was not always so confident in my abilities, especially when I first started using small inflatable boats. My first one was a Navan Red Start round tail, powered by a 2-horse-powered outboard, which I inherited from my father when he passed away. The inflatable was a tender for family yacht, which I didn't inherit as it was a shared ownership between my father and my uncle, so it was sold off to pay back my uncle's share. I have very fond memories of discovering my sea legs in this little craft, which I called the jellyfish, because it wobbled as it went. It didn't have any floor as such, just a PVC bottom, which flexed with the waves as it went. I tried to improve its wobble motion by placing pine planks on the bottom, but they didn't make much difference. It was just in the boat's nature to wibble and wobble along. Back then, around 2008, I happily explored the west coast sea lochs in this little boat, and one of my favourite places was Loch Craignish, where the mighty Doris Moor tide race begins. Of course, I was smart enough to know to keep well away from it, which is as well, because back in those days I'd no VHF, PLB, safety cord or even an anchor. I did wear a life jacket though. I survived to tell the tale and also learned a lot while thoroughly enjoying myself. And that's what this video is about, revisiting places that hold a lot of memories, and also doing some things I always meant to do but never got around to. It was the second week in July and the forecast promised another heat wave. However, as the wind still looked a bit unsettled, I decided to have a multi-day adventure without going too far. My plan was to head out of Loch Etive into Oban Bay, down the Sound of Kerala, and explore Loch Fiocan before mooring up for night in Puilladobhrain, which roughly translates to a pool of otters. The following day, heading into Loch Craignish to relive some old memories and moor up for the night there. The following day, I would do what I never dared to do in my early inflatable boat days. Ride the Doris Moor tide race out of Loch Craignish and into the Corryvrechan whirlpool, where I almost swamped the boat. Then back to Easdale to moor up for another night before heading for home. It was an uninspiring grey day when I left my home port, but I took comfort in the fact the water was flat calm and the forecasted heat wave was due to arrive the following day. I happily cruised under the Connell Bridge, passed Dunstaffnage and turned to port when entering the open sea, heading for Oban Bay. I took a shortcut between the mainland and Maiden's Isle to enter Oban Bay. I decided to do something I seldom do, go close inshore to view the sights. I normally fly past well offshore, but the sight of two tall ships attracted me for a closer look. Besides, I was in no hurry and had time to kill. I often see the Flying Dutchman and the Blue Clipper well out at sea when I'm on my adventures, so it was nice to see them up close. Heading out of Oban Bay, I began to choke for a coffee, so decided to land in Little Horseshoe Bay on Kerala for a short break and leg stretch. It had been a while since I stopped here and had forgotten how muddy the bay was when the tide was out, but enjoyed my coffee and recalled memories of looking over the old wreck, which is still decaying peacefully. I guess some would say I'm slowly decaying too, but thankfully I can still get out and about between the storms. I keep my mind active by learning new things when I can. I recently bought a software synthesizer, and I'm slowly getting to grips with its mysterious ways, just in case you're wondering what the soundscape is all about. Then, refreshed, relaxed and relieved, I clambered back into the boat and continued on my way, past Skeery and Dua Lighthouse, and away to the entrance to Loch Craignish. The lyrics of an old Leonard Cohen song ran through my mind as I approached the loch entrance.
Thought I saw an eagle, but it might have been a vulture. I never could decide.
It's funny how certain sights recall old memories and feelings. A moment later, this remote cottage reminded me that the 1968 film Ring of Bright Water was made here. The book is not a favourite memory of mine, but I still recall that old movie. I have more recent memories of Ardorran Marine and Loch Craignish, as I sometimes launched the boat here before I moved to Tynalt. However, I have never once gone any further up the loch than the marina, so that was now going to change. I dropped a lure over the side and wondered how good this loch was for pink-fleshed fish. In truth, I didn't fish for long as the lure kept snagging in long boot-laced seaweed. Besides, it was now lunchtime, so I pulled over for another break. I concluded that the inner basin of Loch Craignish, on a dull day, is not the most inspiring place to be, so I headed back to sea. The distant sight of a bridge across the Atlantic Ocean brought back more old memories. This time, as a young scout, I attended a camp at Arden Capel in the Isle of Seil around 1969. I had now arrived in Puilladobhrain, a popular sheltered yacht mooring. and as I'd never slept overnight in the boat here, I was determined to change that. It can be a busy place, but I knew I could get into very shallow water and keep well away from the yachts. It was low tide, so I knew I could anchor here in a foot of water and not ground out during the night. The blooming heather reminded me that summer was rolling on and time waits for no one. The drone was getting impatient too, so I let it loose for a wander around. This song is another old memory of mine. For 10 years I was a keyboard player in a local pub band, and this is a recording of our version of a popular run-rig song.
Without question, racing the states on the shotgun bed. For every river I try to cross, every hill I try to climb, every ocean I try to swim, and every road I try to find. All the rest of my life, I'd rather be with you. There's no way without you, no. But you came to me like the ways of children, simple as breathing, easy there. Now the years roll over you like the winds, they pass over. Never forget them, wash, say. For every river I try to cross, every hill I try to climb, every ocean I try to swim, and every road I try to find. All the rest of my life, I'd rather be with you. There's no way without you, no. Every river I try to cross, every hill I try to climb, every ocean I try to swim, and every road I try to find. All the rest of my life, I'd rather be with you. There's no way without you, no. Every river I try to cross, every hill I try to climb, every ocean I try to swim, and every road I try to find. All the rest of my life, I'd rather be with you. There's no way without you, no.
I happily spent the rest of the afternoon slowly sipping a tin of Guinness before cooking supper. Nothing fancy, just a Tesco ready meal, but it filled an empty hole. I then went for a short walk from the mooring and along a quiet country path to a bridge crossing the Atlantic. As mentioned earlier, I always recall a scout camp I attended in the Isle of Seil around 1969. It's the first time I crossed the bridge and visited the area. That camp's memories have stayed with me my whole life, and I intend renewing those old memories in a day or two's time by revisiting Arden Capel, which will be in part 3 of this video series. I recalled some words my father once told me. He said, "You know when you're growing old as you tend to look back on things more than looking forward." I now understand what he meant, and while I do still look forward to new adventures, I'm finding I like to look back on my life now as well. I resisted the temptation to visit the pub, which is something I would never have passed by when younger. I had a few tins of gravy back at the boat, and besides, I was moored on an island and knew the tide would prevent me getting back to the boat if I was sidetracked. I enjoyed the rest of the evening just sitting watching the worlds go by. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.